They say betrayal whispers before it roars. But on that night, it arrived with the sharp clink of champagne flutes and Alex's polished voice cutting through the haze of pretense. He stood there, tall and unshakable, handing me the envelope like it was a toast to our future, divorce papers served up with a smile. Right in front of everyone we'd invited to celebrate 8 years of what he called unbreakable love. The room held its breath, waiting for my tears, my outburst, the spectacle he craved. But I didn't shatter. I didn't plead. Instead, I met his gaze with a calm that burned deeper than rage, reached under the table for the silk-wrapped box I'd hidden there, and walked straight to Margaret, his mother, the woman who'd raised him on pedestals of perfection. "This is for you," I whispered, pressing it into her hands. She opened it slowly, her fingers trembling as the truth spilled out like poison from a vial. Her face went ashen, and without a word, she rose and left the room, the door clicking shut behind her like the final nail in a coffin. Alex froze, his victory crumbling before it even began. If only he knew how long I'd been forging that silence into a weapon. People talk about love like it's a fairy tale, but sometimes it's just a mirror you hold up until it cracks. When I first met Alex, we were wide-eyed juniors at a liberal arts college in upstate New York, the kind of place where autumn leaves painted everything golden and dreams felt just within reach. He was charismatic, with that easy laugh that could charm a room, studying finance with eyes set on Wall Street. I was the introspective one, majoring in graphic design and communications, always sketching ideas in the margins of my notebooks, seeing the world as layers waiting to be peeled back. He pulled me out of my shell, made me feel alive in ways I'd never known. We'd sit on the quad, sharing cheap coffee and talking about the life we'd built, his empire of deals, my vision of a home rooted in quiet strength. He called me his anchor. And for years, I held on tight, believing we were unbreakable. After graduation, we scraped by in a cramped Brooklyn walk-up, the kind with creaky floors and a view of brick walls. No safety nets, just ambition and each other. We launched Harper Creative, a boutique marketing agency. From our tiny kitchen table, me crafting visuals and client pitches, him sealing deals with that relentless drive. Nights blurred into mornings, fueled by ramen and rejection emails. But we pushed through, holding hands during the lows, celebrating the first big contract with a bottle of $2 wine. Success crept in slowly, then all at once. Clients multiplied. Our logo started turning heads, and the money followed. We upgraded to a sleek loft in Manhattan, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Hudson. But somewhere in the climb, the cracks began. I didn't change much, still left sticky notes with hearts in his wallet, still planned surprise picnics in Central Park. But Alex? He started slipping away, piece by piece, like sand through fingers I couldn't close tight enough. It began with the late nights. Client meetings, he'd say, flashing that grin that once made my heart skip. Then came the conferences, the networking trips that stretched longer each time. I'd wait up, scrolling through our old photos, telling myself it was just the pressure of growth. I kept the home fires burning, ironing his shirts, cooking his favorite steak au poivre, showing up at galas with a smile that hid the growing ache. But his touches grew absent, his eyes glued to his phone more than to me. "Trust me, Emily," he'd murmur, brushing a kiss across my forehead like I was something fragile to be set aside. I wanted to believe it was temporary, a season we'd weather like all the others. Deep down, though, a quiet voice whispered otherwise, a voice born from the subtle shifts, the unanswered questions piling up like unpaid bills on the soul. Then came the moment that etched itself into my bones, the lipstick stain. Not on his collar, but on a hotel key card I found tucked in his suit pocket while sorting dry cleaning. It wasn't mine, deep crimson. Bold. The kind I'd never wear. I wasn't prying, it just fell out, mocking me with its simplicity. I sat on the edge of our bed, turning it over in my hands, the room spinning as realization sank in. That night, I set the table as usual, poured wine, and asked about his day with a steady voice. He lied smoothly, complimenting the meal, avoiding my eyes. We ate in a silence thick with unspoken accusations, and when he turned away in bed, I lay awake, staring at the shadows on the ceiling. Our marriage had become a charade, a polished facade hiding rot. But I didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, I swallowed the hurt, letting it fester into something sharper resolve. If he was building walls, I'd learn to climb them in secret. From that night on, I stopped being the trusting wife and became the silent observer, piecing together the puzzle he'd scattered. I pored over our joint calendars, noting the recurring dinners every Wednesday at a swanky spot in Midtown, the Velvet Room. All low lights and private booths. Credit statements showed cash withdrawals on those nights, neat and untraceable. Then, a colleague from the agency emailed me a photo from a charity gala I'd skipped with a migraine. Missed you. In the foreground. Smiles all around, but in the back, Alex with his arm around a young woman, her head thrown back in laughter, his hand low on her hip. She was Sophia Reed, our new junior strategist, fresh from business school, with sharp eyes and an ambition that mirrored his. I'd met her briefly, polite, driven, unassuming. Now, she was the shadow in every frame. I dug deeper, my nights turning into vigils of quiet fury. On LinkedIn, she posted cryptic updates echoing his tastes, quotes from finance podcasts he loved, check-ins at his favorite speakeasies. A subtle Instagram story showed intertwined hands in dim light, his watch glinting, the same one I'd given him for our 5th anniversary. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it cut into the core of who we were. I saved it all, screenshots, timestamps, a digital trail of deceit. But the real wound came from Margaret. She dropped by for brunch one Sunday, her pearls gleaming as she sipped mimosa, and said, "Alex is a provider. Emily, men like him need space to conquer. Don't cling too tight, it'll push him away." Her words landed like salt in an open cut, praising the son she'd idolized while I faded into the background. I nodded, refilled her glass. But inside, the embers ignited. This wasn't just about us anymore, it was about the illusions they'd woven around me. I reached out to an old college friend, Jordan, a steady, no-nonsense lawyer who'd always had my back. "I need a way out," I told him over an encrypted call. He didn't pry, he just listened, then mapped a plan with surgical precision. We set up a separate account in my name, duplicated business records, tracked Alex's movements via discrete apps. I photographed receipts, mirrored his work tablet during his showers, compiled emails where Sophia floated ideas to streamline the agency code for sidelining me. It wasn't a fling, it was a calculated coup, funneling assets and plotting my erasure. The knowledge fueled me, turning pain into purpose. A sliver of me still ached for the man he'd been. But the stronger part, the one he'd underestimated, woke up hungry for justice. Let him think I was oblivious. Let him pull the strings. I'd weave my own web, tighter, deadlier, to the outside world. I remained Emily Harper, the gracious co-founder, beaming at networking events and posting curated snapshots of our blissful life. But in the quiet hours, I transformed, methodical, unyielding. I hid files in an encrypted drive disguised as design templates, wore a poker face through board meetings, Even surprised Alex with tickets to his favorite Broadway show. Jordan cautioned patience. He's not just unfaithful, he's rigging the game. Strike too soon, and he'll paint you as the hysteric. I heeded it, studying Alex like a dossier, his habits, his tells, the way his smile faltered when I mentioned Sophia casually. One evening, it all crystallized. I overheard him in the study. Phone on speaker. She's clueless, he chuckled to her. We'll do it at the anniversary bash, serve papers publicly. If she freaks, she looks unhinged. If not, I win the narrative. Sophia's voice purred agreement. The words seared me. Not with despair, but with a cold, clarifying fire. He wanted to humiliate me? Fine. I'd turn his stage into his undoing. The days leading to the party thrummed with unspoken tension, the air heavy like before a thunderstorm. I played along flawlessly, suggesting orchids for the tables. They symbolize strength, don't they? Approving the jazz quartet. Even picking a shimmering gown that hugged my curves. Behind closed doors, Jordan and I fortified everything, locked my shares under ironclad clauses. Compiled a dossier of embezzlements, including funds siphoned from Margaret's trust without her knowledge. The silk box became my centerpiece, an elegant package holding the damning evidence, timelines, audio snippets, financial trails, and a heartfelt note to her. Not vengeance, but revelation. To rattle Alex subtly, I left breadcrumbs, a single orchid on his desk. Our wedding photo with a faint crack in the glass. The shared drive password changed to the date of his first betrayal. He'd notice. He'd sweat. And I'd watch the doubt creep in. The night arrived like a scripted drama. The ballroom in a historic hotel aglow with string lights and the hum of elite chatter. Guests in tuxedos and gowns mingled, toasting our enduring partnership. Alex kept me close, his arm possessive, whispering compliments that rang hollow. Sophia lurked in the periphery, her dress a sly red, eyes darting like a fox in headlights. Margaret swept in, regal in sapphire, hugging me with maternal warmth. You've made him so happy, she said. I smiled, the knot in my chest tightening. Midway through, Alex tapped his glass, the room hushing. To Emily, my rock through it all. He slid the envelope my way, his eyes gleaming with triumph. I opened it deliberately, scanned the legalese, then folded it away. No scene. Instead, I crossed to Margaret, box in hand. For you, I said softly. She unwrapped it, her expression shifting from curiosity to horror as the pieces connected photos of stolen moments. Proof of fraud. My note unraveling the myth of her flawless son. The silence was deafening. Margaret didn't erupt, she simply stared at Alex. A gaze laced with profound disappointment, then turned and exited, her heels echoing like judgment. The room fractured, whispers swelling, phones buzzing as I triggered a timed release of the files to key contacts. Alex's face drained of color, his phone lighting up with furious texts from partners, clients, even reporters. What have you done? He hissed, grabbing my wrist. I pulled free, voice even. I showed them who you really are. Doors opened and closed as allies fled. Sophia vanishing into the night. He stood isolated, the king dethroned by his own hubris. I walked out into the crisp air. Jordan waiting with a car. No glances back. This wasn't petty revenge. It was reclaiming the self he'd tried to bury. In the aftermath, the fallout rained down. Alex spun tales of fabrication. But the evidence was airtight. His board ousted him. Deals evaporated. His reputation in tatters. Sophia cut ties, fleeing to Chicago without a trace. He called once, Breathing heavy into the void, I hung up, letting silence speak. Margaret reached out a week later, meeting me at a quaint diner in the suburbs. I was blind, she admitted, sliding over a key to a trust fund she'd set aside. This is yours now for the strength you showed. We shared a quiet understanding, her hug carrying the weight of shared loss. I started anew in a cozy apartment in Brooklyn Heights, walls painted in soft grays. My design firm reborn under my soul name. Clients sought me for authenticity, not flash. The quiet nights no longer echoed with ghosts, they hummed with possibility. Betrayal had scarred me, but in its wake, I found a fiercer love for myself, unyielding and true. The price was steep, but freedom always is.